The lion hit the fence at full speed, 400 pounds of muscle and fury, and the old barrier finally gave way. People screamed. Parents grabbed children and ran. Zoo staff shouted into radios for the emergency response team. Within seconds, the entire section was evacuating, hundreds of people stampeding toward the exits in pure panic. Everyone except one person. Grandmother Thandai stood perfectly still, 20 meters from the broken fence, watching the massive male lion step through the gap into the visitor area. She was 81 years old, visiting the Johannesburg Zoo in South Africa with her daughter's family who had already run with the crowd. But Thandai didn't run. She just stood there, her traditional Zulu blanket wrapped around her shoulders, her walking stick planted firmly in the ground, watching the lion with an expression that wasn't fear. It was recognition. The lion, a huge male with a thick black mane, stopped the moment he cleared the fence. His amber eyes swept across the fleeing crowd, then locked onto the one human who wasn't running. Thandai. For a moment that felt frozen in time, the old woman and the escaped lion simply stared at each other. Then the lion did something that made the few security guards still watching from a distance stop breathing. He walked directly toward Thandai. Not stalking. Not charging. Walking with purpose, his eyes never leaving her face. "Ma'am, run," a security guard shouted from behind a barrier. "Run now." But Thandai didn't move. She kept watching the lion approach, 10 meters away, 8 meters, 5 meters. The lion stopped 3 meters in front of her. His massive head was level with her chest. One swipe of his paw could kill her instantly. Thandai spoke, her voice calm and steady in Zulu. "Is it really you?" The lion's ears pricked forward. He took one more step, close enough now that Thandai could feel his breath. Close enough to see the scars on his face, the distinctive pattern of his mane, the white marking above his left eye. "It is you," Thandai whispered. "Hosi. After all these years." And then something happened that would be captured on dozens of cell phone cameras and viewed by millions of people worldwide. The lion lowered his massive head, pressed it gently against Thandai's chest, and made a sound, a deep, rumbling purr that vibrated through both of them. Thandai placed both hands on the lion's head, tears streaming down her weathered face. "Hello, old friend. I never thought I'd see you again." Before we continue, make sure to hit like and subscribe. Where are you watching from? Drop your country name in the comments. Now let me tell you the impossible story of how an old Zulu woman and an escaped lion knew each other. 15 years earlier, Thandai had been a different person, 66 years old, living in a rural Zulu community in KwaZulu-Natal, still strong enough to tend her garden and care for her grandchildren. One morning, while walking to her fields, she'd heard sounds that didn't belong, the yelping cries of something young and in pain. She'd found him in a dried riverbed, a lion cub, maybe 6 weeks old, his right back leg caught in a poacher's wire snare. The wire had cut deep, down to the bone. The cub had clearly been there for at least a day, maybe more. No mother in sight. No pride nearby. Thandai had two choices: walk away and let nature take its course, or try to help and risk getting killed if the mother returned. She'd knelt down beside the cub. "You're alone, aren't you, little king? Your mother is gone. And that leg, without help you'll die here." The cub had tried to bite her, tried to claw, but he was too weak. Thandai had worked carefully, using her knife to cut away the wire, talking to the cub the entire time in Zulu, her voice soothing even as the cub whimpered in pain. "I know it hurts. I know you're scared. But I'm trying to help. Stay still, little Nkosi. Stay still." She'd wrapped the wounded leg as best she could with strips torn from her skirt. She'd given the cub water from her container. She'd sat with him for 2 hours, making sure he was stable. Then she'd faced an impossible decision. The cub couldn't walk. His leg was too damaged. She couldn't just leave him there. But bringing a lion cub to her village would cause chaos. So she'd made calls. Eventually, she'd reached a wildlife rehabilitation center 3 hours away. They'd come, collected the cub, treated his leg. Thandai had visited once, 3 weeks later. The cub was recovering well, his leg healing but permanently weakened. The center's director, a woman named Dr. Zuma, had explained the situation. "He'll survive, but that leg will never be fully normal. He'll have a permanent limp. In the wild, that's a death sentence. He won't be able to keep up with the pride, won't be able to hunt effectively. We'll have to place him in a permanent care facility. Like a zoo. Yes. He'll be safe, cared for. But he'll never be wild. Thandai had spent one last afternoon with the cub, now about 3 months old. She talked to him, sung to him, said goodbye. You're going to have a different life than you should have had, she told him, tears in her eyes. I'm sorry I couldn't make you wild again. But you'll be alive. That's something. The cub had pressed his small head against her chest, purring. And that had been the last time she'd seen him. Until today. Back in the present, zoo security was in crisis mode. The veterinary team had arrived with tranquilizer guns. Police were surrounding the area. Everyone was preparing for the worst. But what they saw through their binoculars made no sense. The escaped lion wasn't attacking. He was standing pressed against an old woman, his head on her shoulder, purring like an oversized house cat. And the old woman was stroking his mane, speaking to him in a language the security team couldn't understand. I don't have a shot, the vet with the tranquilizer gun said. He's too close to her. If I tranquilize him and he falls, he could crush her. Then what do we do? The zoo director, Mr. Bota, demanded. We wait. And we pray. Thandai was talking softly to Nkosi, her hands gently exploring the scars on his face, the thickness of his mane, feeling the life that had grown from the tiny cub she'd saved 15 years ago. Look at you, she whispered. You became magnificent. Beautiful. She felt his right back leg with her hand, the one that had been trapped. She could feel the thickness of scar tissue, the slight deformity where the bone had healed imperfectly. Your leg still bothers you, doesn't it? Nkosi shifted his weight, confirming what she'd said. Is that why you broke out? Because you're in pain and no one understood. The lion made a soft chuffing sound, not quite a growl, not quite agreement, but something in between. Thandai looked around at the zoo enclosure Nkosi had escaped from. She could see it from here, a concrete floor, artificial rocks, a small pool of water. Clean and maintained, but nothing like the grasslands he should have roamed. You hate it here, don't you? 15 years in a cage, even a nice cage, is still a cage. She looked at the security team watching from a distance, at the guns pointed at Nkosi, at the fear in everyone's faces. They're going to shoot you with a dart, she told him. Put you back in that enclosure. Maybe make it even smaller, even more secure, because now they know you can break out. Nkosi rumbled, a sound that wasn't quite a growl but held frustration, resignation. Thandai made a decision. She turned toward the security team and shouted in English, Don't shoot him. I'm fine. He's not attacking. Mr. Bota grabbed a megaphone. Ma'am, please step away from the animal slowly. We need to secure him. No, Thandai called back. You need to listen first. This lion knows me. I saved his life 15 years ago. He recognized me. He came to me, not to attack, but to reconnect with the only human who showed him kindness. That's impossible. Look at him. Thandai gestured at Nkosi. Does he look aggressive? Look at his body language. The zoo's head animal behaviorist, Dr. Kumalo, was watching through binoculars. She's right, he said quietly. His ears are forward, not back. His tail isn't lashing. He's not showing any signs of aggression. He's relaxed. This is greeting behavior, not predatory behavior. That doesn't change the fact that he's an escaped lion, Mr. Bota argued. No, Dr. Kumalo agreed. But it changes how we handle it. He grabbed the megaphone from Mr. Bota. Ma'am, my name is Dr. Kumalo. I'm the behavioral specialist here. Can you tell me the lion's name? Nkosi, Thandai called back. It means king in Zulu. Nkosi, Dr. Kumalo repeated. Does he respond to commands? I don't know. I haven't seen him in 15 years. Can you try asking him to lie down? In Zulu? Thandai looked at Nkosi. Lala fancy, Nkosi. Lie down. Nkosi tilted his head, considering. Then, incredibly, he lowered himself to the ground, lying at Thandai's feet. The entire security team gasped. Now ask him to stay, Dr. Kumalo instructed. Nkosi. The lion stayed, his eyes on Thandai's face, trusting. Ma'am, Dr. Kumalo said, his voice shaking slightly, I'm going to come to you. Slowly. I'm not armed. I just want to talk. Is that okay? Ask Nkosi, not me, Thandai replied. Dr. Kumalo swallowed hard and began walking toward them. Nkosi's head came up, watching this new human approach. A low rumble started in his chest. It's okay, Nkosi, Thandai said quickly. He's a friend. He takes care of you. Shoo, it's okay. The rumble stopped. Nkosi settled back down but kept his eyes on Dr. Kumalo. When Dr. Kumalo was close enough to speak without shouting, he stopped, staying a respectful distance away. 15 years ago, you saved his life? He asked Thandai. Yes. He was trapped in a wire snare. I freed him and brought him to a rehabilitation center. They told me he'd have to live in captivity because his leg was damaged. Dr. Kumalo looked at Nkosi's right back leg. That's in his records. Old injury, permanent limp. We've been managing it, but... He paused. He's been increasingly aggressive lately. Not toward staff, but toward his enclosure. Breaking things, roaring at night, refusing enrichment activities. We thought it was just behavioral issues. He's not aggressive, Thandai said firmly. He's miserable. He's been in a cage for 15 years. That leg probably hurts when he can't move properly. And he has no family, no pride, no purpose. He's just existing. Dr. Kumalo was quiet for a moment. You're right. We've been treating symptoms, not the cause. He looked at Nkosi, really looked at him, and saw the intelligence in those amber eyes, the awareness of a creature who knew exactly what he'd lost. What do you think we should do? I don't know, Thandai admitted. He can't be released. His leg won't allow it. But this. She gestured at the concrete enclosure. This isn't living. This is just waiting to die. What if we change things? Dr. Kumalo said slowly. There's talk of building a new big cat sanctuary, larger spaces, more natural environments, room to roam. It's been planned for 2 years but we haven't had funding. But if this story gets out, an escaped lion who recognized the woman who saved him, who didn't attack, who showed this level of cognitive memory and emotional connection, that could change everything. He pulled out his phone. Social media is already exploding. You and Nkosi are all over Twitter, TikTok, Instagram. Escaped lion reunites with woman who saved him 15 years ago. This is international news happening in real time. And maybe, just maybe, this is the moment that changes how people think about captive animals. Maybe this is what gets us the funding to build something better. But, he hesitated. We'd need you. Need me how? Nkosi trusts you. We'd need you to help transition him to the new facility when it's built. Come visit him regularly until then, help keep him calm, remind him that not all humans are captors. Be his friend. Thandai looked down at Nkosi, who was still lying at her feet, watching her with those intelligent eyes. I'm 81 years old. I don't know how many years I have left. However many you have, Dr. Kumalo said gently, Nkosi would appreciate sharing them. Thandai was quiet for a long moment. Then she smiled. When I was younger, I saved a life. Now that I'm old, maybe I can give that life meaning. I'll help. Over the next hour, with Thandai's help, zoo staff were able to guide Nkosi back to a temporary holding area. He went peacefully, following Thandai's voice, trusting her commands. The story went viral exactly as Dr. Kumalo predicted. Within 48 hours, donations flooded in from around the world. Companies offered sponsorships. Architectural firms volunteered to design the new sanctuary pro bono. Within 6 months, construction had begun on a state-of-the-art big cat sanctuary, not a zoo, but a true sanctuary with large, natural habitats, enrichment programs, and proper care. And twice a week, Thandai would visit Nkosi. They'd sit together, separated by safety barriers but close enough to touch through the fence. She'd talk to him in Zulu, sing old songs, tell him stories. And Nkosi would listen, his massive head pressed against the fence, purring. When the new sanctuary opened 18 months later, Nkosi was the first resident. His new habitat had tall grass, real trees, a large pond, and space to roam. His limp was still there, but physical therapy and better management meant less pain. Most importantly, he wasn't alone. The sanctuary introduced him to 2 elderly lionesses who'd also come from inadequate facilities. After careful introduction, they formed a small pride. But Nkosi's favorite time was still twice a week when Thandai would visit. Now 83, she'd sit in a special observation area while Nkosi would come and lie against the glass, and they'd spend an hour together, the old woman and the old lion, both survivors, both grateful. If this story moved you, share it. Tell us in the comments. Do you believe animals can recognize people after many years? Hit like and subscribe for more stories proving that memory transcends species, that kindness is never forgotten, and that sometimes the most dangerous-looking moments are actually the most beautiful. Because somewhere in South Africa, an old Zulu woman visits an old lion, and both of them remember the day their lives became connected, when a choice to help instead of walk away changed everything. Sometimes the bravest thing is refusing to run when everyone else does. Sometimes recognition happens across years and species. And sometimes the escaped lion isn't looking for freedom, he's looking for the one person who made him feel like his life mattered.